Hello, everybody out there. Wrong intro again. What's wrong with me?
I don't know,
Hello,
Dad.
citizens of YouTube land.
That's another time you've messed us up again today.
Yeah, well, I guess I'm just so used to the old intro.
Yeah.
It's your president and your VP here, back once again with another special episode of I Love This Movie.
As our final 3 episodes will be a 3-parter of the Spider-Man trilogy.
And hey, as always, if you'd like to become a citizen of YouTube land, all you have to do is hit that subscribe button below. So, today's episode is going to be Dickie Roberts, former child star. Take it away.
This movie premiered September 3rd, 2003. The director of this movie was Sam Wiseman.
Yeah, don't get too angry at us,
please,
guys.
Please.
Anyways, it also stars
movie...
David Spade, Mary McCormick, Craig Bierko, John Lovitz, and a whole host of others. Probably too many to really count because there's a lot of cameos in this film.
This movie was written by Fred Wolf and David Spade. Fred Wolf happens to be an executive producer on the 80s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles TV show, which also happens to be produced by Wolf Productions.
Yeah, so there's that. So this movie, Dickie Roberts, opens in an true Hollywood style format, which was an early 2000s show that was actually pretty good.
Yeah, and it basically shows how Dickie Roberts was a child star for a fictional TV show within the movie called The Glimmergane, which is like a parody of like the Brady Bunch and a bunch of other 70s shows at the time that were like that.
Yeah, like the Partridge Family and Happy Days.
You know, it was an NBC show apparently, so I don't know what the I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. So it goes through a whole thing detailing how he got to where he's at. And it basically tells him that his he's looking for his last big break. Well, he decides that his last big break is in the form of in the form of celebrity boxing, which was another 2000s era type of show that was it was okay. I'll just say that.
Yeah. So we get to the first joke of the film. Now, parents, you might want to screen this movie before you let your children watch it, because I would technically call it a family film with a hard edge to it, because there are drug references, there is crude humor throughout, and there's some language.
Yeah, some slight language.
It's not
real bad.
It's not heavy as, say, some other PG-13 films like San Andreas, for an example, or Twister. So yeah, I'm just saying that. Parents, you might want to screen it before you let your children watch this, because you may think that it might be inappropriate for your child to watch this.
So anyways, the big joke at the beginning is that he's fighting a man.
He's getting beaten down by a midget. I'm gonna straight out say it. He's getting beaten up by a midget, and that's funny.
Yeah, and for those of you who are short in stature, know that we're not really making fun of you guys.
We're not trying to make fun of you. In fact, the joke of the first joke of the movie is glorifying short people, as well. He's getting beaten up by one.
But let me also just say this: it doesn't matter what your skin color is, what your nationality is, people, what
Excuse me a second.
What your size is, everybody's got to learn how to just laugh at things again, and to get a little bit more.
Get a drink of water.
and to not take themselves so seriously. So while he's up and about, I'll continue this thing.
Oh, crap.
Anyway, so he gets his butt kicked by Emmanuel Lewis, and as Emmanuel Lewis is getting his hand raised in victory, because it was like a prison-style beatdown that he inflicted on Dickie Roberts, the referee then goes and kicks him in the butt. That leads to another pretty hilarious bit, really. The movie itself's got a lot of slapstick comedy in it, which I kind of like. I love that style.
Tom and Jerry, anybody? Come on, Tom and Jerry.
Yeah.
Kings of slapstick.
Yeah, I could somewhat compare this movie favorably to like an Ernest movie almost.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of slapstick stuff in that too.
Plus, this movie has a very good message behind it, which we'll get to that at the end of the review here. So then it leads up to another scene in the movie where he basically gets into an argument with his girlfriend Cindy, which
she's vain and shallow.
Yeah.
So let's call a spade here, and let's get it, spade a spade. Anyways,
only we laugh at our corny jokes.
Yeah, my little dad jokes here and there, guys.
Yeah.
So she's vain and shallow, and they get into an argument, and Dickie resorts to being basically like an idiot man-child, and he has a tirade. And he jacks his car up too much, right?
And it flips
and
over.
It flips it over basically like an Acme cartoon style, like a Bugs Bunny style bit. Yeah. But it works.
And then it blows up.
Yeah, because it blows up, which would be kind of impossible, but that's okay.
Dad, again, it was making a punchline of a joke.
So, Cindy leaves him stranded on the side of the road, and then he has to go back.
Forced to walk.
He goes back.
124 miles, by the way.
He goes to, he gets back to Los Angeles, and the whole time that this is playing, it's interposed with a song called Lifestyles of the Rich and the Famous by Good Charlotte, which is a good song, guys. Go up there and check it out.
It is. It's a very good song. So anyways, he gets to the part where the paparazzi have already gotten pictures out of his boxing match with Emmanuel Lewis, where then he meets up with Leif Garrett. Take it away, Dad.
Leif Garrett was a 70s teen icon at the time. Who also, this ties into the ending jokes of the movie, he also was on Teen Beat with Michael Jackson, and he had a somewhat successful career in the 70s as a musician, and he also starred on some TV shows as well. Take it again.
So then he says, hey, Leif Garrett says, hey, you going to audition for Mr. Blake's Backyard? And Dickie says, yeah, I am. Explain to me what that is again. He's like, it's Rob Reiner's new film. He's like, yes, I will definitely check it out. So then it comes to the next joke of the movie, where he's at a restaurant, basically as a valet parker. Take it away of what that joke is, Dad.
So, as he basically steals a car, commits Grand Theft Auto, because he does, he gets into a fender bender with a roid freak, who happens to be played by, I think his name is Salsa Mitchell, who also was a former child star on a sitcom called Step by Step.
This is the reason why the movie works so well, is because it's full of former child stars. So anyways, he meets up with Tom Arnold, who I know from Roseanne as Arnie. You guys might know. I know our one subscriber that we know. Shout out to him. He'll know who Tom Arnold is from Roseanne as well, because, well, yeah.
So they're in the AA, and he's having a discussion with Tom Arnold, and then he realizes, it's quickly pointed out to him that since he's not an alcoholic, he shouldn't be there. But then he decides to go and locate another AA meeting where he spots Brendan Fraser, and he goes in, and, take it away.
So then this scene goes where he's like, hey, gang, so I'm sorry I'm late, gang. I was out in the bar having 1 tequila, 2 tequila, 3 tequila, 4. This guy knows what I'm talking about. Excuse me, sir, can you help me? I'm like, and he's like, yes, you can. I'm Dickie Roberts, and I'm a whiskey puking alky.
And then she says,
that's okay, sir, but this is a Lamaze class. And he's like, Oh.
And Brendan just can't compose himself.
He loses it.
Yeah, that's got to be the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And it is kind of stupid, kind of dumb. But
it is.
Sometimes you got to just be able to love stupid. And certain things as well, guys.
Yeah.
As I said earlier, you got to... let's get to the point to where we can laugh again, you know, and not take ourselves so seriously.
So, anyways... He's then playing poker that night with a bunch of his friends, with Barry Williams. Yeah, I said that right.
Yeah, who was on the Brady Bunch. That's where that comes from. He's a former child star. And a fun fact, he lives right around Table Rock Lake, which is right here in Branson, which is where we live, guys, Branson, Missouri. So now, if any of you guys don't know out there, that's where we live. We live in Branson.
Yeah. And he's also playing poker with Dustin Diamond. Watch our unauthorized Saved by the Bell story video to know why we hate Dustin Diamond with a passion.
Yeah. If you haven't watched that one, go and watch that one.
Yeah, it's under our playlist of Lifetime Movies: A Dude's Perspective, Season 1. Check it out. It's free. It's free to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because those of you guys who don't know, we are not sponsored in any way, shape, or form, nor will we ever be.
Nope.
So
unless if we get big enough.
It's just a little fun side project, and we produce these specifically for you guys out there, nobody else.
And our 5 subscribers out there, and for our own entertainment.
Yeah. So getting back to the plot, because we had to plug ourselves a little bit.
Sorry.
Got to do that, self-promote.
Yeah. So anyways, Brendan Fraser calls Dickie, and he gets a spot in with Rob Reiner. Where then he meets up with this lady, and he's a complete and total jerk towards her.
Played by Rachel Dratch, who was on SNL. A lot of the people on this movie, David Spade, John Lovitz, and a few others were on SNL. So that's where that kind of all ties in together. And for those of you who don't know out there, SNL stands for Saturday Night Live.
Yeah. So anyways, he meets up with her again, and she has like this big bump for when she got knocked into the what, Dad? Oh, okay. Sorry, he's leaving for a second. So I'll take over. Yay! Look at me, it's your VP, everybody. So anyways, so then he's like, hey, can I have a script of Mr. Blake's Backyard? And she's like, no, this script is on a complete and total lockdown, but you know what? I recognize you from that TV show, and I might be able to sneak you one, but you'll have to wait until hell freezes over, a-hole. Which, technically she has to give him one because, or she has to sneak one to him because hell is already frozen over with, because there's a town called Hell, Michigan, so technically hell is already frozen over. So, I'm getting off track here. So he meets up with Rob Reiner. And he, sorry, I'm just looking at Dad. He's just like, yeah. So he meets up with Rob Reiner, and then he's like, "You're the exact height I imagined, but you just don't have the basic foundations of an adulthood, which is a childhood." So then they basically go into this long spiel, and so then he's like, "You'll have to relive your childhood," and he's like, "That's it, I'll relive my childhood," you know. Which then he sells his book for $30,000, and then he offers up $20,000 for. He offers up $20,000 for a family to deal with him for a month, basically. So the first one, he basically gets in with this biker dude who has a dog. Then the second one, they make a gay joke, basically. What are you doing, Dad? You're a punk.
Making a grand entrance back.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, your president of YouTube land.
And I'm back.
Back.
Did you miss me?
I don't
Probably
know.
not.
I don't know. We're not streaming this live, so I don't know. Anyways, so he goes back to they make a gay joke in the scene particular, you know, it's kind of cringy.
Yeah, it's a little bit cringy.
I'm just
but
saying.
Once again, you got to be able to laugh, guys.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to be able to laugh at yourself.
Yeah. So then he goes with another family. They're an African American family, and then he meets up with the main family. And the characters are Grace, George, Sam, and Sally. So yeah. George, he's kind of a jerk.
He doesn't spend a lot of time with his family, and he's kind of a horrible husband, really.
I would use a different word for George, but it's a family-friendly show that we have to contain here.
Yeah, a lot of our videos are family-friendly,
yeah.
So we'll just leave it at he's a bit of a jerk and not a good father.
Yeah. So, anyways, he meets up with Dickie, and then he has an agreement with them, you know, yada, yada, yada.
$20,000 for a month to be able to relive his childhood.
Yeah, so he then gets into another slapstick comedy. He gets in with another slapstick comedy bit with the water wiggle, which is a hose. And he just basically, it gets wrapped around his legs. He's just like, ah! You know, it's pretty funny, actually.
Mm-hmm. So a whole series of hijinks ensue in which he learns about different childhood toys, and then he learns what kids would drink as far as being kids.
Yeah. So he's like the Sniffy Jiffy. He's like, Sniffy Jiffy. He's like, yeah, you know, the Sniffy Jiffy, the devil's dandruff, you know.
Whipped up. That's what the original reference was.
Whipped up. You know, and then he's like, come on, Sam, the rest of the class is on page 52 here. And Sally comes in and she's like, Dickie, this is all I ever hear from you. Brick wall, waterfall. Dickie thinks he got it all, but he don't. And I do. So boom with that attitude. Peace, punch, Captain Crunch. I got something you can't touch. Bang, bang, choo-choo tray. Wind me up, I do my thing. Reese's PC 7 Up. You mess with me, I mess you up.
Yeah, he kind of flubbed it a bit, but he got the gist of it.
I know. Sorry.
So,
I've watched this movie so many times, I can quote that line so much.
So, anyways, they determine that they're going to go get some root beer, basically, because they at first say beer, and he's like, well, hold on, how many? One for you, one for me, and one for you, and one for you, and two for me, because I'm kind of a husky kid. So Dickie goes and gets beer, and they're like, well, we're not supposed to drink that yet.
Yeah,
that's going too fast.
That's where we get the that's where we also get the brick wall waterfall.
Yeah, but that's part of the reason why he was so messed up to begin with, is because he lived his life too fast. And so, anyways, because
and then Sam explains to him, Dickie, listen, that's something you think about, you know. You'd be like, one day when I'm older, I'll be able to drink beer, and then it's like, well, all right, you know what? I got you guys your precious root beer. That comes some burping jokes.
They're somewhat funny.
Yeah,
but let's progress this along.
Yeah. So then he gets onto a stroller. By the way.
Yeah, because he's never apparently been in a stroller as a baby before.
Yeah, and that's where Grace meets her neighbor, which, let's call her what she is. She's a Karen.
Yeah, for those of you guys who don't know, a Karen is a type of person that would be like all up in your business all the time, and it's the let me speak to your manager person. Yeah, y'all all know what I'm saying.
Yeah, she's like, Grace, your trees are dropping leaves on our yard again, and it's like, I'm sorry, well, I don't know what to do about that. And then she's like, young man, aren't you a little big to be in a stroller? And then Dickie perfect line deliveries here. He's like, aren't you a little big to be on a sidewalk?
Yeah, I guess you could call it a fat shaming joke, but once again, guys, you got to be able to laugh a little bit.
Yeah, he's like, my God, this is not a drill, people.
Yeah.
This is not a drill. China, we're so sorry for your trimmers.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. And but to be fair, Grace does scold him immediately and says that you shouldn't talk to people like that. To which he says, and she should talk to you like that? You know, Grace, you got to stand up for yourself a little bit. Which segues a little bit later, because I'm going to wrap this up a little bit faster here. It segues a little bit later to, after having done all kinds of things, including the waterbed that he had installed, it caused a leak and caused severe damage.
Which, by the way, so, they overblow this so
Grace
much.
Is furious and is about to kick him out, and they're like, the Karen's like, Grace, we don't need to see your problems. Can you take them inside?
We don't need to see your dirty laundry outside in our yard.
To which Grace is like, oh, blow it out, your. And we'll leave it at that. You should be able to know what that means. A lot of you guys probably already heard that.
Blow it out, your.
Yeah. So she's all shocked about it, and then the dog comes up and has actually gotten a hold of a dead rabbit. And so Dickie helps them put it back together just as quick as they can.
Oh, yes, yes. Well, I know exactly where this is leading to. Can I explain it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to take over from here. So, they basically clean up their dead rabbit, and then they leave. Then they put it back into the cage, where they come home, and they're like, hey, there's something in the cage.
It's a rabbit.
It's a rabbit.
He died 2 days ago. We
buried him right over there. And then Dickie, and then he's like, Satan torn us. And then Dickie's like, that is a sign from hell. That means move out of that house. And then they're like, devil rabbit, devil rabbit, devil rabbit.
But that's part of that's part of the charm of this movie too. Is that Dickie is a problem solver. He goes through the whole movie and he doesn't realize it, but he actually is. And so after solving all the problems,
like the Pep Squad scene where they make a punchline of of one of my favorite jokes in the movie, where Heather Boland is doing that that dance, and then Dickie's like,
yeah, it's part of it too.
Yeah.
But he realizes that he's a problem solver, and he eventually does get to the point to where he's ready to read for Mr. Blake's backyard, and he gets to the part, but then he comes home, and it turns out that Cindy and George, who had already showed that they were kind of attracted to each other earlier in the film.
It's
so
kind
that
of
was foreshadowing it a bit.
It was kind of insinuating that George wanted to Cindy. You guys can probably make a note of what that actually means.
Yeah, we're not going to go further than that. In fact, this may have to go in a different one, son.
Yeah.
It may not go into the kids' version.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll get
yeah.
Which we're not going to go any further.
We're not going to go any further.
But so they run off together, and Dickie is successful now because he's got the part, and he's about to go shoot in Hawaii, where he's on the plane, and then the two flight attendants show up.
Take this over. I'm going to see
who's
calling.
So they recognize him as the one who's going to be in that movie, and so then he finally figures out what Mr. Blake's backyard was all about, and essentially what the movie is definitely all about too. And I think in a little bit of a way it can be compared to Joe Dirt as far as that part of the message goes, which is the movie that David Spade did before that. And then, okay, so since he's figured out what he's supposed to have,
hey guys, can you give me a second here?
He heads back to
doing a video right now.
to Grace's house and so then he is able to have his happy ending.
Yeah.
And it's revealed that he has a sitcom now based on his exploits. And Dickie was even gracious enough to give Cindy a job.
which made a spinoff called the Who Didn't Know She Was a...
Yeah, if you watch the movie, you'll know.
you'll know.
So, we're going to get to our thoughts on this film now. I think it's a very sweet, endearing film. It takes a little while to get to that point because there's some mean-spirited jokes at the beginning of it.
Dad, you know that's all part of the movie.
I know that, but I'm trying to relay it from like a critical viewpoint here, son.
Yeah.
That
it's Anne and Valerie.
Okay. So that
sorry guys.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of interruptions today.
Seems like we can never get our videos done.
Anyways, this is a very sweet, endearing movie. It's a family film with a hard edge. It's, in our opinions, funny. Very funny.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and give this one 4.25 stars out of 5. What say you?
I might be a little biased because I love this film a lot, actually. But in my own personal opinion, I gotta give it 5 out of 5. I'm sorry. I may be biased for this film because I love it so much.
Yeah, you can be biased
else.
a little bit, and you can talk about your favorite film.
Yeah,
you can have that.
I really love this movie, and that's why I said I might be a little biased. And
so
it's
total combined rating for Dickie Roberts today, 4.5 stars out of 5. Go ahead, go check it out. We found it on, was it Amazon?
Redbox. We actually own it.
Yeah, we actually own it, but there's several different streaming services that you can find. You can get it on DVD anywhere, guys.
Yeah.
Go out,
Yeah.
do yourself a favor. If you haven't seen it, go out, check it out. I think you're going to enjoy it a lot. But I think that's about all we have time for today.
Hey!
Doing.
I was having my water.
Yeah, but you're playing with it. Anyways,
so?
guys. Whatever. Yeah. I think that's about all the time we have for this one. So, once again, not to interrupt my own interruption here.
So, once again, sorry to interrupt you, Dad. If you think this is the worst film in the world, that's fine. Our opinions don't matter because we're just two idiots with a cell phone camera.
Yep.
But they kind of do because we have a YouTube show, but they don't.
But they really don't.
They really don't.
And so, anyways, once again, we'll see you guys next time. And peace and love from Dickie and Son. Bye.
We are actually finally able